No, no, it's we're live now. Hello, everyone. It's lighting better. I think so. Hi. It is 28th of the month, and anytime where C-suite speak is happening at this time, I always like to ask you how far, how salary, what's going on with salary, how far. Have we planned well? Have we done salary the way we should? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Um, Trust your day has gone well. Yeah, I'm just wondering which lightning is better. Anyway, once people join, I guess we'll find out. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's another beautiful edition of C Suite Speaks. Thankfully, this month of July, we've been able to do a lot more episodes than last month was really tight. Getting guests and all of that was not as straightforward. But thankfully, we're here today and we have our guest going to join very soon. Super grateful to everyone who has sent in positive comments, feedback, saying to us, thank you, you're enjoying the program, you're enjoying the podcast, you're getting value, you're learning. It's been a joy myself. Like I've always said, I start C-Suite Speaks with the view of giving back, and just leveraging my community to give back to others. But turns out, like they say, I've been the first beneficiary, first partaker of the fruits thereof, right? And so I'm super excited that we're here. Let us know on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram that you can hear me. It's clear we are good. As usual, would always say invite somebody because trust me, they are going to get value. C-Suite Speaks is that opportunity for you to learn from the, in quotes, secrets of those who have gone before, right? It's seeing their future, seeing where they are today. It looks like your future, and you are like, okay, I can do this if they can. And like I always tell people, they don't have two heads, they have one head. If they can and they don't have two heads, then maybe I can as well. And that's just the beauty of what we do with C-Suite Speaks. Our guests will be joining us shortly. So again, I like to say anytime that's around this end of the month, I always like to ask salary. If you're here and you do not have the budgeting template yet, are you in this community at all? You are meant to be budgeting. There is no way you are going to grow and go far if you don't plan your salary before it comes. And if you are someone who has debt, it surprises me, but I've seen it over and over again, so I know it's true. How many of us that have debts who don't know how much we're owing in total? You don't know how much you're owing in total. You just know that every month I pay this one. Hey, this one is almost due. They will soon come out and you're going to take another. You're just running a rat race. Get intentional. If you have debt, go and sit down and write down all the debts you have, the timelines, how much you need to pay. Look at how you have been spending money and ask yourself, what can I stop spending money on? Literally, so that I can begin to pay up this debt and pay it up very quickly. All right. So if you have debt, please do that. If you haven't planned salary yet, it is not too late. You can please. Even if you have already started spending the salary, please go right ahead. If you start spending the salary, the one that is remaining, still plan it. Wherever this meets you, please go ahead and plan it and say the rest of this salary is XYZ amount, and I'm going to use it in this particular way. Please be intentional, right? One of the things I always say in this community is that regret does not do refunds. You're not going to say, oh, I'm sorry because of the way I handled that money. I'm sorry, please, let me earn the salary back, or let me not buy that thing again. Woo, doesn't work that way. Money spent, money gone. Simple and short. All right. So you've got to be intentional. So even if your salary came last week or came on Monday and you have already started spending it without, you know, structure, if I'll put it that way, that's fine. Whatever is left of it, please get on with it. Get on with planning whatever is left of it. All right. Be intentional. No matter how small you earn, be intentional with planning it. Some people would say, oh, is it this money that they used to plan? After the salary did not increase, when it's big, like I've said before, let's call it your practice salary. This is your practice salary. I agree. It's not the real thing. I agree. It's not the real thing. Let's use it as practice salary. It's not the amount you want to earn. You are worth more than that. It's not taking you home. It's taking you to the gate of your company, or taking you to your not taking just taking you to the bus stop. Whatever phrase you want to use to describe what you earn. Get intentional with planning it. Get intentional with sitting down and saying, okay, this is the amount for lunch. This is the amount for transport. Let me add the buffer. We're still in raining season, Canada. So, transfer fare goes up. Okay, what is it going to be? Put a buffer for food. You be intentional. Sit down and write. Salary is too small. In my head. Remember, they say that the shortest pen is more reliable than the sharpest memory. Don't excuse yourself and say, "Oh, I will not forget." I know how much is enough food for the month I'm going to buy. It will surprise you how we tend to spend more, much more, much more, much more. Than There's a way I say it, that money makes you feel like it's plenty until it finishes. You keep spending and spending and spending and spending, and then you realize what some of us will now come to, like, the 15th or 16th of the month and be saying, these bank people, somebody has touched salary, all these bank charges. My dear, bank charges are not new things. In your budget, put a line there, bank charges. It's a real thing, right? It's a real thing. Put it there, bank charges. But it's not the reason why you should spend anyhow, right? You've got to be intentional about it. Today we are going to be talking a leader in the HR space, and someone I'm very excited to speak to today. I'm just reaching out to check that he's able to join. Right, we're going to speak the leader, and as I was thinking about the introduction, I realized that this one person that I cannot say I've known for a long time, because you know how we come on here and I bring guests. Interestingly, today is episode 28, and today is 28th of the month. I was just saying to my team that episode 28 on 28th of the month, right? Only God could have done that. But back to what I was saying, every time we come on, almost every time I say, oh, I've known this person for 10 years, I've known this person for 15 years, and somebody was teasing me one time that when Neka says she has known you for years, it's likely that she's been doing business from you. But this is a guest, our guest today, just someone I've only known for a year, I think, just about a year, but someone I'm happy to have a conversation with this evening, and again, just show you light on the path, right? That helped this person to get to where he is, as a HR director, where he currently works today. And so, please get your questions ready. I just want to go and check. If you're on LinkedIn, please just drop a comment and let me know, just so that I'm sure that this is broadcasting well, because I am not getting notifications here on our streaming platform. So please, if you're on LinkedIn, right? If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Instagram as well, please drop a comment so that I can just be sure that we're actually broadcasting live. If you're on LinkedIn or Instagram, please drop a comment so that we're sure that we're broadcasting live. I don't know what's going on. I'm really hoping that we are live, because our guest hasn't joined yet, and I'm a bit concerned. So I'm hoping that there are no challenges with joining. Okay. So let's let my team also check, right, that we are live everywhere. Just so that I'm sure that we're good. I think we're live on LinkedIn. Yeah, okay. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on LinkedIn. So I think we're also live on Instagram. All right. Great. Hooray. Our guest is here this evening. Super excited for this. Let's go. Hello, sir. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Sorry, can you hear me? It seems as if my picture is frozen. I don't know why.
Yes, it is frozen, but I can hear you.
I don't know what else I can do. You want me to go out again or what?
Yeah, maybe you can exit and come back. Let's hope it will work. It is frozen, but I think you can exit and return. Okay, at least it's coming now, so I know that the link is working and we're actually live in the studio. Live in the studio. If you're on LinkedIn, like I said, please react so that I can know that you're there. Right? If you're on Instagram, let's know as well. Yes, so our guests will be back. As usual, we'll start our story, getting to meet our guests, and then as he shares with us from his decades and decades of work experience, I'm sure we'll find value. I'm sure we'll find value. I'm sure we'll find value. Our guests will soon be here. One of the things I find interesting is the size of the business that he leads, right? I heard him share some stories about working with different nationals. So that's something I'm hoping we'll be able to touch on today. That experience of working with different nationals, I hope to touch on it. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, sir. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't know what is wrong with the.
The video still seems frozen,
Yeah, I don't think it is my internet anyway, but
and I can hear you loud and clear.
yeah, that's why I'm saying that. I don't think it is the internet.
Okay, I don't know, but can you see me?
Yes. Yeah, I can actually see you.
That's interesting. Technology. Peace be still, please. Technology. You have to. Will work well with us this evening. But I guess we'll carry on. And
Okay.
since you've already tried to switch out and come back in, switch ISPs, I'm not sure what's going on. But I would say we should carry on, and let's hope that it moves after as we go on. It's just strange, completely frozen. But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for giving your time to be here. I'm super excited to host you on C Suite Speaks. Super excited to host you on C Suite Speaks. Let me just check. Let me just check with one of my team members if you are also frozen on their end.
Okay.
Let me just check. Yes. Okay, welcome, sir. Let's carry on because, of course, this is already 14 minutes into the time. So let's carry on. I know you're a very busy person, so I don't take it for granted.
Uh,
Now that you are here with us this evening,
okay.
uh, okay, you are back. You're moving
Yeah,
now.
sorry, I'm using my iPad because my office laptop rejected it. Um,
Oh, okay, that's fine.
yeah, it was blocked by my office laptop. So,
Hmm.
but anyway, you can see me now, right?
Yeah, I can see you. You are moving, but it is still glitchy a bit. But I would want us to carry on for sake of time as well, right? I know you're very busy, so I would like to carry on. So thank you very, very much. Super excited to host you this evening on C Suite Speaks. The way we like to start the conversation is to provide like a an intro, right, to why we are here, and then would allow you to introduce yourself. That's our preferred approach. We feel like when our guests introduce themselves, we're able to just allow them express the parts of them, that they want to share, and then we'll take it forward from there. So why C Suite Speaks? I started teaching people to be happy at work in 2020. Yeah, 2020, the year the lockdown. And as over time, yeah, I did that for a while consistently, and then it ebbed a bit. But sometime last year, I started listening a little bit more to Diary of a CEO by Steve Bartlett. And the way I received that podcast was, it's essentially somebody hosting people to tell their stories. Yes, there may be scientists, people in finance, whatever area they are in, but the way I saw it was just a storytelling podcast, simple and short. That's the way I saw it. And I thought, okay, if he's doing this across the various areas and spheres of life, what about our own African stories for career people? So simply
Mm.
that was it. Like, we have great stories on the African context, from the African context, right? Whether here in Africa or in diaspora. And we've been privileged to be able to interview people from Canada, from the UK, just having those conversations around from with leaders across board. So that's where it came from. And it occurred to me that, well, Neka, you do have a network. Let's try and see if you exhaust the network you have. We'll start all over again. But interestingly, today's episode 28, and we haven't exhausted the network. So it's been an interesting journey. And the whole idea is to say, let's look at younger you, right? And what would you tell younger you that brought you to this path, brought you to where you are today? I tell our audience that if you can see your tomorrow in my guests today, then listen to their stories so that you can see how you can chart your path to getting to that desired end, right? So that's what C-Suite is about, right? It's speed mentoring, hear people's stories, learn from them, and see possibilities for yourself, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
again, thank you so much, sir, for being here. And I welcome you and I'll yield the floor to you to introduce yourself, share with us what parts of your multifaceted, dimension person you want to share with us. And I will just engage, ask questions from there. We'll have a good conversation over the next 40 minutes and I would, let you go. Thank you very
Okay.
much. And
Okay.
over to you.
Good evening, Neka. Good evening, people on this stream. My name is Bemiga Olabi, the organization and HR director for HBM. HBM, formerly Lafarge. We just changed our name about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, because the change
Okay.
of ownership, the largest share in being held by Hosin before Lafarge Holcim has been sold to Washing Business Materials, which is one of the oldest cement manufacturer in the whole world. Uh, Washing Business Building Materials is about 108 years old, and it's one of the largest cement manufacturer in China and is actually expanding outside the country. So it's in Asia, South America, and also Africa. Now, so let me introduce myself. So, so before joining HBM, I was with Airtel Networks, the famous Airtel, as the HR director. I joined in 2015. And before that, I was outside the country with BG Exploration and Production, which is the old British Gas before it was privatized. Okay, so I actually joined them in Nigeria in 2007 and spent 2 years in Nigeria and then got moved to Wales in the UK. Spent then from Wales, I moved to England, doing various, I was HR manager, head of HR for what's called, what's the name of this company? I forgot the name. you know, it's an LNG plant anyway, but it's a joint venture between the Malaysian oil and gas business and BG Exploration. I was to come back, but then I was asked to stay back and I was with them for about 7 years because I got into a UK contract. From the UK, I did a stint, an international assignment to East Africa as head of HR, covering the BG operations in Tanzania, Kenya, and Madagascar. Those three countries, I did my 2.5 years, almost getting to 3 years before going back to the UK. And then Airtel came calling, and that was why I returned back to Nigeria. Prior to joining BG in Nigeria, I was with Coca-Cola. That's where I spent most of my career in terms of number of years. I spent 13 years in in Coca-Cola, which is the Coca-Cola Hellenic Bottling Company. Okay, so joined them as plant HR manager. So I was in Ashejire, which is quite a big and modern plant, and then the largest plant in Africa in Ikeja, the one on Agidingbi Road. I was HR manager there for about a year and a half. Then I moved to the head office in what is called the head of talent management now, managing recruitment, performance management, uh, talent management, performance management, then learning and development in Coca-Cola. So I was there before I joined BG. Now I started my career. Hopefully, I'll get to that. But because it's an interesting story of how I started my career,
Please, very
which
important. We
which
want to hear
basically
that.
shaped. So I started my career with what's called Leonard's. If anybody knows Leonard's Shoes, Nigeria
Oh.
PLC. Leonard's is the direct competition to Bata then. So that's
Mm.
where I started. I actually started as a graduate trainee And within 8 months, I was already head of HR there. And imagine,
Wow.
at 21 years old, and then you are head of HR for a PLC company in Nigeria with about 450 employees in almost about 21 states. So very interesting, but a story that we could get back to later on. Anyway, so in short, that's my career. I am married. I have a son. So I've done a bit of when it comes to I mean, look, I'm an HR. I studied industrial relations and personal management. So I was actually intentional in terms of what I wanted to do with my career. I did masters in international, the same course, industrial relations and personal management, and then did an MBA in marketing at OAU. My first and second degree, the BSc and masters were in Unilag, and then went to OAU for my MBA. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personal Management, chartered member of the Chartered Institute of Personal Development in the UK. I've gone around a bit. I've done Nigeria, UK, East Africa. So I think I have some bit of experience in terms of how I've been able to go around in my career. So that, in short, that's that. So I'm open to any direction you want this discussion to go.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah,
It's interesting seeing, well, I think one of the things that stood out for me is the movement Nigeria, Wales, England, East Africa, back to the UK, then to, you've really moved across continents,
yeah, I've
across,
tried.
countries. You've really moved around, right? And I find that really interesting. But let's go back to the beginning. I found what you shared really intriguing. You said you began with Learner's Shoes as a grad trainee
Yeah,
and you became head of HR at 21. Please,
yeah.
what was happening? Please, can
Yeah,
you
no,
walk
okay.
us through?
Yeah, I mean, look, so I'll be brief. And I used to share this with people that, yes, in people's lives, not only professional career anyway, but, sometimes luck is very key. Okay, so
Mm,
sometimes it's not uh, your hard work, but you may get that opportunity through luck. It is what you make out of the opportunity that matters. Okay. So
mm.
when I passed out of university after serving, came back. I served in Ilorin, Kwara State. Yeah, came back to. I'm from Abeokuta. Came back to Abeokuta. Then my brother was sick, my junior brother. So with my pop, we used to take him around, UCH, Luth, and then he passed on. Okay,
Oh, so sorry.
about a year when I finished my youth service. So a gentleman came to commiserate in the house, and incidentally asked, saw me, and my pop was introducing me to him. And that, okay, that's his brother. And he said, oh, okay, so what do you study? I said, industrial relations and personal management. Then he left. Nothing. I didn't know him before, but he was known to my pop. And so he left. He never said anything. Then the following Sunday, he came back again with a letter of employment as a graduate trainee. Yes, yes, it happens in Nigeria. You understand? With a letter of employment as a graduate trainee. So I had to go to Lagos to fill my form and everything and did like an interview. I also went through a test, okay. But it was more or less like, okay, let's fulfill all righteousness, okay. Um, but then I look at it like, okay, this is an opportunity that some other people, at that stage, I've never applied to anywhere because my brother was sick anyway, and I was going around with them. So, um, then, um, about 2 months into our graduate training program, it was supposed to last 18 months, and we're about 20. We met the what is called the the like a working committee of the board. Okay, just a small group that supports the CEO in managing the business. So they introduced them to us, or introduced us to them rather, and then so they ask a question that who wants to support us because we're looking for like a secretary to take minutes and then produce the minutes and stuff like that. I raised up my hand. Now, till today, what made me to raise up my hand, I can't say, but I just raised up. I was the only one that raised up my hand, by the way. So I became the secretary to the board. So I was known to the board, to that working committee,
Hmm.
subcommittee of the board. So because I was the secretary, I sit with them, I generate the minutes. This was the days of, Euro stencil, right? So I supervised the secretary in producing the stencil, but I had to do it on time, prepare it very well because it's a board document. Uh, so then, about 6, 7 months after, the head of HR left. So the subcommittee of the board, now we're now looking for the replacement. Remember, I was still a graduate trainee. And the CEO said, but why are we looking outside? We actually we're supposed to be training, these young people to become, managers in the future. So I will support him. And you've seen what he can do. And of course, because I was showing also my capability with the board, the subcommittee of the board. They agreed,
Hmm.
surprisingly. That's how I became the head of HR. So,
Wow.
with responsibility,
Hey.
you know, at 21 years old. And it wasn't easy, but the thing is that I knew that it was an opportunity. I never allowed it to pass by. I grabbed that opportunity, even though I had what others didn't have or don't have, in terms of, okay, look, go through the recruitment process and stuff like that. So that's how I became the head of HR, spent about 3 years there. So I became more grounded in HR. That by the time I was moving to Coca-Cola Eleni Bottle Company, it was very easy for me to acclimatize and say, look, okay, well, I'm actually ready. I actually joined NBC, CCDC then, with almost about 10 other HR managers. And I ran my own plants because I got posted to Ashejire in Ibadan, Oyo State. Um, yes, it's in Oyo State or Osun State now. I don't know. But
The
I bit
network, sir.
okay from my end.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you actually.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, it's breaking.
I don't
It
know.
was breaking, so I know that I heard you up to a point, but it was breaking. I heard you up to the
Okay.
point where you were saying
Can you
you
hear
got
me now?
opportunity. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Let me just please, if you don't hear me, just signify so that I know.
Okay.
Okay. So I was at
I heard
the
you up to the point where you said you got opportunity with both hands and spent certain number of years there. I didn't catch that.
okay.
The
So
number
so I
of
was
years
there
before you
for
then joined
yes.
NBC.
Okay. So I was there for 3 years before I joined
For how long?
NBC. 3 years. Three
Oh,
years.
three. Okay,
Hello.
3 years. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Because I can
Yes,
change my source of
it's
internet
breaking
again.
again. Uh, network be still. Can you hear me, sir? I can't see you again, even though the video is showing that you are still here, but I can't see
Hello.
you.
Hello. Can you hear
Okay, I
me?
can see you now. Yes,
Okay.
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, I just changed the source of internet. Okay, so I was there for 3 years. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Wow. I don't know, and it's not raining where I am. The bars where my network is saying the bar is full.
My own is
Uh,
also full. Do you want to check externally whether it is
okay,
okay? Because my own, I'm
okay.
actually using.
I'm going to try to switch and let me see if it's from my end.
Because I just moved from a Starlink internet to.
Because I really want to hear what you're saying, and I want it to be broad. I want to be very broadcast very clearly to our audience. Hello, sir. Let's try and see. Please, can you speak and let me see if I'm able to hear you? No, let's get here.
Okay, hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you. Yes,
Okay, I can hear you. So let's carry on. So you said that you had put on this down. You said that you spent 3 years right there, okay,
yes,
and you
yeah.
decided to grab the
Before,
opportunity with both hands.
yes, definitely. I mean, because look, I think I was very focused in terms of what I wanted to do anyway, and I think that is something that has helped me throughout my own career, in the sense that opportunity, there's so many opportunities that you will get in life, but some people would say, "You can't hear me. Can you hear me? Hello."
I can't hear. I know you're speaking, but I can't hear it.
I don't know what else
I'm
is going
really
on,
I
because
want to
I'm on, and it's actually showing that everyone can see and hear me. Hello, 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 hello. I actually have a very solid internet connection here.
the same thing I have telling me the bar is full, but I could third option. Option now. So I want to know if let's try with that, please, sir. Can you carry on? Let me know if it will still be clear.
Okay, so where was I? Okay,
So
so
sorry, so we're at the point when you joined NBC. You spent 3 years at Learners, and then you joined NBC with others.
yes, so I joined, and then I got posted to Ashejire,
Okay.
in the Ashejire plant, just outside Ibadan. And I did about 4 years there, or so, 4 or 5 years. Then, I mean, look, the other thing that also happened in my career is also the fact that I didn't restrict myself into HR only. So I was also more interested in what was happening in operations, supply chain. So at a stage, there was a plan by the business for me to go into plant management. Okay. And so I did the training. There was a training in South Africa. I acted because then the plant manager for the Coca-Cola plant used to manage both sales and operations, supply chain. I was asked to move to commercial as a commercial manager for 1 year in preparation for the plant manager position. And then a new HR director came into the business, and I got a call one day And he asked me and said, "Oh, okay, he's looking for good HR people that he understands that I'm in commercial now." So I gave him the brief of okay, how I got into commercial. It's just a steps, gap into becoming a plant manager. And he said, "Okay, now look, but I'm looking for good HR guys. Do you want to come back to HR?" I said, "Oh, no, let me think about it." And he said, "No, no, 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 you are going to give me an answer now." And
Wow.
yes, within 2 minutes, said, "I'm on this call. You give me an answer now." Without thinking
That's
twice, I just said, "Okay, I'll come back to HR." So that's how I got back to HR. Okay, so then within 6 months, I got moved to Ikeja, which is the largest plant in the business and in sub-Saharan Africa, the largest. Then I did about 1.5 years in Ikeja. Then I got moved into the head office, where I worked on a myriad of things in HR. The only thing I didn't do in CCABC was to do HR shared services and industrial relations. All other aspect of HR, I was managing it, including a learning center, a very big learning center where we do apprenticeship scheme, management training, technical training, all sort of things there. Very interesting time. And I was so lucky for the mere fact that when I was in that position, that was when the Coca-Cola company itself was revamping its talent management framework. So I was part of the team in the group that worked on that. Okay. And it's like you get more grounded when you work on a particular project and then you're also the one that is implementing it by yourself.
mm,
Okay. So very good experience that I got there, especially when it comes to talent management in that process. So I was there until I left to join British Gas
BG.
in
Okay.
Nigeria, BG. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. This is really interesting, right? I want to take you back a bit. Okay. You said the board committee asked for somebody to volunteer, okay, to take minutes. You said you don't know what made you volunteer. But if you know how they say hindsight is, you see hindsight is 2020 or something like that. Looking back
Yeah.
now, right? Um, what do you think made you volunteer, right? Like what made you say, "Oh, okay, I'll do this thing." If you look back,
You
were there things you had
yeah,
been
yeah.
doing before that prepped you to make you that kind of person that was willing to do extra? Have you always been someone that, just talk to us about that, please?
Yes, I mean, look, you are right. With benefit of hindsight, I knew why I put my hands up. Anyway, look, I've been somebody that I'm a bit of an explorer, right? I want to do
Mm,
things. I'm very intentional in terms of what I wanted to do. Um, I even in my jam or what do they feel then? I didn't feel two subjects. I feel only industrial relations and personality, and I feel only Unilag. You understand? Because, like, okay, that's what I wanted to do, and this is the university I'm going to. Nothing more. If I don't get it, it's a different thing. But this is what I'm going to do. Okay, so that intentionality was there. Okay, the second thing is not about some people take being ambitious as a bad thing.
mm,
No, to be candid, in Coca Cola, part of what we use in identifying high potential is whether you have the drive to move up. Do you
mm,
have the ambition to succeed? Do you have the ambition to grow in life? That's that drive has to be in you. And I think, to be candid, I mean, with all modesty, I have that drive. We were about
mm,
20. Okay. So if I had not raised up my hand, I would have lost that opportunity
hmm,
because they will not know me. Because it was very easy for the CEO to sell me, right? Because he could see, okay, this guy is dedicated, he knows what he's doing, he's hardworking. I stretch myself. I always tell my younger ones, hard work doesn't kill. In fact, sometimes
hmm,
if my wife says, "Oh, you are working too much," I said, "No, there's a reason why you have to work hard because." This is an example I always give people. If you have a broom, that broom, the local broom, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is all the same until somebody goes there to pull one out. You never know who is going to come out. So if you are in an organization of 20,000, 1,000, 500, 100, if you don't step up, you're going to be amongst some of those people that are there. Nothing is going to move you up. Not yet that you are backbiting, but there must be
Mm,
something that needs to propel you for the
mm,
business to notice you that you are a high performer or you have high potential to deliver in this business. All effort. If you even if I mean I was talking to some people the other day and I said, look, you can bring your skills into the workplace. You can learn so many things. You
mm.
can be hardworking. But one thing that is very important is the result. If the outcome doesn't show, you will just be counted as one of the good people that we have in this business. But that's not what sells people. It is that
Mm.
result. Your effort must translate to a visible result for people to
Yes.
notice you. And mind you, Neka, I could have destroyed my career by doing that job for the subcommittee.
Honestly.
Because, I mean, I could have messed up late in delivering the minutes, it's full of errors and stuff like that. And then the CEO says, oh, okay, you know what, let's pick this young man. They said, that one? How? In fact, the CEO, if he knows what he's doing, and not to affect his own credibility, will never even mention my name. So sometimes and that's why I said, look, there's luck, and then there's the opportunity, and how do you grab it matters, and how do you show that you are result oriented. You need to have the drive. You can't come and just sit down and wait, and which is what most people do. In my company today, I hear some people will say, look, I've done 10 years on this job, this business has not promoted me. And I say, but we always preach that your development and growth is in your hand. But
Yes.
most importantly, and
Yes.
and they look at me and like, okay, look, maybe I'm not being empathic over this issue. And I ask them one question: how many people did you come in with on the same job? Have you looked at where they are now? Because you also need to do a benchmark. If you have five technicians that came in and four has moved to become a manager, and you are the only one there, you need to check yourself as to what is happening. Don't come and tell the company that you are the only one that has not been promoted. But what happened to the others? They got promoted.
Hmm. Hmm.
So effort must always show in outcomes for you to be able to grow.
Hmm. Wow. So much wisdom. I mean, I expected it. So much wisdom that you do, because I'm taking notes as you're speaking, right? And one of the things that stood out for me, in fact, you said you're an explorer. The way I've written it down is you are very intentional to life, right? And I think that that's a very major lesson for anybody watching, right? Like we said at the beginning, C-Suite Speaks is like a peep into the past of C-Suite leaders. And the purpose for that peep, or for the purpose for you to have that picture, is so that you can have possibilities. You can say to yourself, okay, if this person is coming from here, then possibilities for me. So you talk about being intentional. There were 20 people in the room. You shut your hand up. You just were, I would do it without understand. I'm sure you didn't understand the extent of the work that was required.
No,
You had
you
not done it
just
before. 21, you know, and I dare say that some of those people were older than you.
definitely,
But
definitely. I mean, look, people with even experience at work. Remember, I've never worked before,
exactly.
and yeah, this is me. I just said, okay, so let's do it, and that was it.
It's so that intentionality to say, I'm new here. I may not know anybody here. I may not know what's going on, but opportunity comes to serve. And I think it's so important, and it's a theme that has resonated from many of our guests on this, on this podcast. Because people need to understand that the opportunities that will catapult you and make a difference, they don't usually come with, oh, look at this opportunity, oh, and if you
Now,
take it to, there's a chance that this would happen. No, it's work.
no, it's you have to show it. You have to deliver. And that is why,
21.
Neka, people will drive. All things being equal, will always grow.
Hmm.
If you are result oriented, you have the drive to succeed, you have the right attitude, you have the right emotional quotient, you will succeed. I don't look. I see. I advise. Let me share an example with you. I Some people get, and I mean, look, just about 3 weeks ago, because we do career week in my organization, and the theme of this year is about growth along on a journey, right? And so some of us were sharing experience. Your life experience or your professional career is not always like going up. It comes with you know lows and downs. But then, do you react negatively to it when it is low? No,
Hmm.
because you don't know who is watching you.
Hmm.
You don't know who is taking decision at that particular time. Because now, if you allow that situation to affect you and your performance drop, the day somebody recommends you and says, "Oh, Bemiga is there, he's a good guy, maybe we should be promoted." I tell you, somebody is going to say, "Oh, but he didn't deliver that thing last week. He didn't deliver that one 2 years, 2 months ago," and that they take a decision and drop you. If it's a
Hmm.
good organization, whether you like it or not, whether it's going to take some time, a good employee will always be found out.
Hmm.
It may take some time. If the company
Hmm.
has the right process in place, it will always you will always get what you deserve at the end of the day.
Hmm. Hmm. I like how you said it, right? Yeah, it may take time, but a good employee will always be found out. That place where it's like, okay, this person, right, is doing good work. And I think it's important to call out what you've just said. If you react negatively when your career is going through those ebbs, right, people are observing. People are
Yeah,
observing because everybody's, I believe everybody's career goes through those ebbs. And if people can't trust you to carry yourself well when you are going through those, in quotes, valley points, then how can they trust you with leading others? How can I trust you with
exactly.
leadership? If we can't trust you to handle those ebbs, those low points properly, professionally, then we can't trust you with leadership because everybody, I think it's important to even call that out, the fact that everybody's career goes through those low points. So now that
It
you've brought
is.
that up,
Yeah.
I want you to, I'm still fascinated by the story of head of HR at 21, but I don't want to stay there. I want to move a bit. You've talked about going through those low points, right? And I believe that you have some of those stories where you wondered, why am I here? Is where I'm supposed to be? What's going on? Can you share some of those and what guided you through that? Is there anyone you didn't handle well? What lessons do you have to share? Or even if it's not your own experience, people you've observed go through those points, they didn't handle them well. Let's learn. Let's learn.
Yeah, I mean, look, have I committed mistakes in my life? Yes, I have. But I take mistakes, errors, as a development opportunity anyway, because that is what you gain. If you just sit down on issues that has happened to you, at the end of the day you're not going to make any progress out of it. So I've had rough patches. I've been opportune to have very good line managers in my career. Some have been tough, okay, not necessarily because they hate me, but we're all human beings, right? I mean, Rob badly on some. But at a stage in my life, I'm not going to mention the company. I had a rough time. Not only me, anyway. Nearly all of us were having a rough time
Mm,
with the CEO. And so when my boss left, I was acting. Okay, so I was now in the eye of the storm, and I remember that. So, yeah, this here will bang the table, get angry with me. I'm very outspoken. I say my own mind, right? So I bang the table. I say, you're not listening. You are doing the same thing that your boss was doing and stuff. Now, this is me that, I could have calmed down, become, homogeneous, sorry to speak Yoruba,
oh yeah,
and
that's
get the
fine.
position right. But by the the thing in me just didn't want me to say, because sometimes you also have to have integrity. Okay.
Mm.
I used to tell the CEO then, I said, but you know, what you want me to do is also what I'm the one that always tell my boss that not to agree to this.
Wow.
So if, because I'm now acting and you want me to be agreeing to this, I'm not going to do that because it is wrong. And I'm ready to stand on that anyway. But okay, so so I used to approach him, and this is what some of the issues that I had then, which of course I learned from. I used to approach him, so he tells me something. I said, sack that person, and I said no. Like you tell your CEO he wants you to sack somebody, and then every
Say
time he
no.
says, "Oh, go and do this," and I he said, "No, it's not possible. I'm not going to do that now." And stuff. Okay, so I went to this business school in the UK on training. Yeah, so I got there, and there was this professor that was taking us. So I was doing one-on-one with him. So I asked him a question. I said, look, share my experience with my CEO. And I said, look, this is always the problem I'm having with this, with my CEO. And he said, why? What do you normally say when he asks you to do something? I told him that it's impossible. And the guy looked at me, an old English gentleman professor. Look at me and said, really? You talk to him like that? No, you cannot tell your CEO no. It's impossible. So I asked him, I said, so how do you want me to tell him? Because that means I'm going to be doing something wrong. He said, no, why not take it this way and tell him and said, yes, it is possible. But if we do it, these are the consequences. I tell
Mm.
you, when I go back to Nigeria, within 1 week, we were in the same situation. I'm very sure the CEO then was shocked to hear me say, okay, yes, okay, understood. Yes, it can be
It's
done.
be like,
But
what happened? Who is this?
yes, like, okay, so are you agree with me? But I lay down the consequences of doing it. That's what I wasn't doing before. I wasn't explaining to him. I need to massage
Mm.
his ego for him to know that, yes, I'm actually willing to do this. But the issue is that if I do it, it's going to cause problem for me and for him as the CEO of the business. So why do we want us to do it like that? Why not? So when I tell him and said, no, but this is what is going to happen. But the other way is that I can do it this way, which is always what I've always wanted to explain to him that we don't get to before it flares up. What is
Oh.
the alternative way of doing it? But my own
Mm.
is to say no. And then, of course, we are now into, fight back and forth. But immediately I changed that, it actually worked for me. Now, let me tell you something. I eventually left that business. Okay. In actual fact, when I resigned and I was going through my 3 months notice, he now left. And most of the people in the business say, oh, baby guy, he has left. So why do you still want to leave? And I said, no, 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 no. I'm done in this business. Okay. Let me leave and go somewhere else. But I learned a lesson there. Okay. That there are better ways of managing situation.
Mm.
Yes, you can be bold, and I consider myself bold,
Mm.
but you need to have emotional intelligence on how to manage things. You cannot just decide that, yeah, okay, my land manager is saying rubbish, and then I'm going to go frontal with him. No matter what, organizations will look at it and say, who do I, when it gets to a bad situation, a totally bad situation, the organization is going to look at it and say, so who do I want to lose here?
Mm.
If any one of you needs to leave, I'm very sure it is you that has a lower position.
Mm.
So, how do you use your emotional intelligence to be able to manage situation, difficult situation, so that when the person that you are speaking to or reacting to can understand? How do you get people, like we learned on the coaching certification course,
Yeah.
active listening. How do you get somebody to even listen first? You remember that there are people that even when you want to start talking to them, they're already pumping up the answers. You, because what you have first said is irritating to them. They're already annoyed because of the way you've started. So you yourself needs to create a situation where the person will listen to you. So if I say yes, it can be done. So initially he thinks that okay, I'm happy that he's agreeing with me that it can be done. Then I say, but this is the consequences of doing that one. Then he thinks, okay. Hmm. Then I said, but I can do it this way. Then he said, oh, that's good. So you see
But
that
once you
process.
just say no,
Yes,
he's not even hearing anything else. He's just querying you're telling him no. That becomes
exactly.
focus of the conversation.
Exactly. Because look, why are you arguing with me over that one? I'm the CEO. And there's no line manager that you have, especially CEOs, from my experience. You need to massage the ego of your CEO. There's, you can't escape that one. If you want to succeed in your job, your line manager is very key to you. So you have to be able to manage your line manager because it determines, I remember that in those days when we used to do performance review, I wrote my thesis on performance review in the civil service, and there was something that I quoted that when your line manager is reviewing your performance, is actually playing God on your life for the
Literally.
next 1 year.
Honestly.
So why do you want to piss him off? So why are you not
True.
managing him very well? Anyway, back to the story of, so that was a very key time in my career, where it was a very rough time. Okay. But I recovered from that. It slowed me down, in terms of my career trajectory.
Hmm.
Look, Neka, I was setting goals for myself. Where do I want to be in 2 years' time? Where do I want to be in 5 years' time? Where do I want to be in 10 years' time? I was very deliberate. But that slowed me down in terms of my path movement. But I was able to recover that one and then, picked it up. Things went well. Um, had good line managers, had a rough one with another one, which I didn't understand anyway. But then I'll tell you this one. Yeah. Sometimes when your line manager doesn't like you for whatever reason, the mitigating opportunity is on your delivery. Okay, so I don't like this guy, but he delivers. So even your line manager will balance it and said, this guy does the work. I just don't like him because at a stage where in your career you get to a stage where you're getting the job, staying on the job, and growing on the job depends on the chemistry between you and your line manager. It's not just about I can do the job. The issue is about, for instance, let's say you are an ESCO member with the CEO. There must be a chemistry, or else you just be running into trouble with the CEO every day. Okay, so that matters a lot in terms of managing, and that's one thing that I learned. Going forward, most of the CEOs I've worked with, when I want to join the organization, I say, you know, I put it up front. This is how I work. I'm a very vocal person. I say my mind. So please, you need to allow me to say my mind. But one thing is that if I say my mind and you disagree with it, whatever you now say is the right way for us to go, that will be my goal going forward. And most of the people that I've worked with align with me on that one. In fact, sometimes they are shocked when I don't talk as to what's your own opinion, baby girl.
You want
But
to
because they
hear.
know that, yeah, they just want to hear because I've laid it up front that this is how I excel.
Hmm.
That I need to be able to say what I consider as the way, based on my professional judgment. And I
Hmm.
tell you something in the fact that it's also about training yourself to be able to differentiate between facts and what I call sentiment. And I think that is where most people get it wrong, because sometimes so it's like a gray zone where you cannot differentiate between what are facts and what are sentiments.
Feelings, sentiments, yes.
Yes, in things I train myself. Sometimes I'm taking a decision and I pinch myself and say, "Wait again, that is sentiment."
Hmm.
No, that is sentiment. Stick with the facts. I may not like your face, but then you deserve a promotion, right?
Hmm.
You deserve a promotion. There's some people, especially in my community of HR, where the HR, because they don't like somebody, they can block the promotion of that person. I've seen it before. But the issue is about the fact that, look, if I block somebody's promotion just because I don't like him, maybe we've had a rough patch or something. Now, look, that is putting sentiment over facts. This person
Hmm.
has met all the requirements. You can easily determine that, no, okay, that sentiment. You may not like him, but he's the right person next in line
Hmm.
to take that particular position. I'm okay. We go on. And that is some of the things that I've also experienced in my career. So I've also had my own lows and ups. When I went to another example, when I went to the UK, and I was switching to the UK contract, because it was oil and gas. Nigeria gets paid very well, and I had to take a salary cut.
Hmm.
Okay, because I was when you convert my pay to English pounds then, British pounds, I was earning more than my line manager in the UK. So I took a career. Now, there was that dilemma as to, okay, look, which one is it money first? Okay. Or I want to grow my career. But I look at it
Hmm.
and I say, oh, yes, okay, I'm going to take a salary cut, but it's good for me to have the real international experience, okay,
Hmm.
that I was looking for. I believe the international experience will help me in life later. So for the 2 3 years that I'm going to now tighten up, because of the cut in salaries, can I survive that? If I can survive that without it having a significant effect on my lifestyle, then I'm willing to take that. Now, that is also something is that some people don't want to do,
Hmm.
because everybody just think that, look, everything must be smooth and it has to be growth going up. Let me give it, because I work in manufacturing, right? Let me give you an example. Somebody is doing shift. Yep. So is any
Hmm.
shift allowance, right? So you now promote him to a position where there's no, which is day, right? Day operations. So he's not entitled to shift. And I've seen
Yeah.
people that will say, oh no, I don't want to lose that.
Leave me there.
Yes, or a salesman that has a car, and you now promote him to a position that doesn't have a car attached to the position, and say, no, 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 always been
Hmm.
driving car. I don't want people to see me not driving car. And because of that, I want to remain a salesman. Now, I've seen it. Interestingly, I've seen it in my career where people think like that. So sometimes the inconvenience that you're going to go through should not be allowed to overcome the career growth that you're actually looking for, because nothing is rosy. If you are looking for, okay, if I move to another position, it must be with pay. I don't want to move laterally. If you want to move people to sideways to get more experience, they say no, I don't want that. Not thinking about the fact that sometimes when you move sideways, by the time you are getting promoted, you may have gotten over promoted, above the people
Yeah.
that were actually going up, because you have gained more
Additional
experience.
experience.
So
Hmm.
sometimes that is basically what you tell people, and they don't understand. They think that it is just HR talk and stuff like. But it is from experience. We've seen it that it happens like that. It may not be 100%, but it happens. And there are people that
Hmm.
have grabbed that opportunity to grow their
Yeah.
career.
interesting. This is really, really interesting. This is really, really interesting. I've been taking notes. I've taken so many points down, 2 pages, more than 2 pages of notes. And I still have quite a number of questions, and it is almost 8:40. I'm not sure
Oh,
which one to ask, but I like the fact that you've called out the need to say you can actually give your align manager, and I want to just amplify or repeat it, right? That you can actually say no without being that confrontational, or this, because if you have that failure to manage effectively upwards did have an impact in our career. I think it's important
yeah.
that we mention that, and also the fact that you need to do an excellent job every time, but especially if you feel you have that sense either your line manager has said it directly or from their body language or whatever, that they're not just down with your name, with you as a
Mhm.
person. Maybe your name is the name of their ex, you know, or somebody. I tell people that the name of somebody that scams their mommy or something, or
you, you never know why somebody doesn't like you.
you may never know. You may never ever know. So make sure you
But
do an
Onyeka,
excellent job.
let me give you an example.
Yes, please.
Even there are bosses that just don't like you because you dress well.
Valid.
I've seen that. So,
Hmm.
so there are so many reasons, but you need to mitigate it by just delivering. Because unless it's a bad organization, if your boss brings it up and your own performance, your result is better, somebody is going to say, why do we want to lose a good person? In fact, that kind of a person get protected in an organization. Because people will
Hmm.
just look at it and say, this guy is a high performer. You don't have any reason to victimize him or do anything. So we're going to protect him against you.
Hmm. So do a great job so you are protected. Hail, do a great job so that you are protected. Do a great,
It
and
protects.
I really wish we had more time to go into this thing you shared, because it's really important. And I'm just wondering, where do we start? Where do we wrap up? Because I need to ask other questions. But this one, you said
Okay.
something
Yeah.
differentiating between facts and feelings, right? Some people may be able to effectively do that. I tell people that if you have labeled your line manager wicked, evil, bad, all of those names, you may never say the words, but they can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody can either decide to ignore you or to really live up to your expectation that, Shebi, think I'm this, no problem. Let's go there. I will show it to you. If there's a question that people get to ask me, and I want to just ask, right, from this lens of working with, maybe sometimes what we call a difficult person, difficult manager, right? Especially around the lines of you are doing great work, the person is not acknowledging the great work that you are doing, because or taking the person is taking credit for the work that you are doing, right? Have you experienced that before? What would you advise somebody, who's in that situation where they feel like almost their hands are tied? They seem to be doing a great job, but the person they are reporting doesn't acknowledge it. And I've been asked, like, how does one handle that, right? Yes, please.
Okay. If I because you were breaking a bit, but I think I've
Okay.
got the gist of the question anyway. Look, and I think I've spoken to it somehow, but let me just try and summarize it in a bit. You you need to be very sure that you're actually doing a good job, because one of the most difficult thing as a human being is for you to be self-aware and say, actually, I've not delivered well enough. And you can only do that one if you don't externalize your blame, your mistakes.
Hmm.
Because what happens is that when somebody, so if your boss comes to you and say, look, you have not done something well, the natural default is to say, what else does he want me to do? I've done everything. If not because of NECA that didn't give me that information, if not because of Tunde that didn't support me and forward that thing, that is why I'm not doing well, but I'm actually doing well. So you need to be first of all be truthful to yourself to say, I'm actually delivering. based on the expectations that has been set. And
Yes.
plus what is not written down. Because people always, I see people, they complain and say, I don't know what else my line manager is using to rate me. No, it is not those 5 KPIs that determines your work in the business. It's just that your line manager has called out 5, but you may have 20 tasks anyway. So even if he evaluates you on that 5, he's still looking at some other ones that constitute your job.
Hmm.
Okay. So first of all, the person needs to be sure that, okay, look, I'm doing well. And now I now have a line manager that is always, against whatever I'm doing and stuff. So how do I address it? Let me give you an example of what somebody did. When I was with BG, we employed somebody and from Shell or so, or Mobile, I can't remember.
Hmm.
And then in BG, we were actually recruiting the best of Nigerians in the oil and gas. So
Hmm.
this person came with a very good, profile.
Hmm.
And 3 months into his joining us, the line manager was already complaining and saying he doesn't think this guy is going to make it.
Wow.
And I was like, come on, that guy. And I think Shell then, I don't know what they do now, used to even write and place you, if you're a star performer, you have a document showing that you are part of the high potential in Shell. Okay. And so what this guy did was that on his own, not Mao's suggestion, nothing. He went to his line manager and said, look, I know you're not happy with me, but let me ask you, what do you think will get me an exceptional performance rating at the end of the year? Tell me now. I'll write it down and then we'll see. If I don't get it, I will leave.
Hmm. Wow. I
And
will leave.
yeah, and the expert shocked, I mean, look, we were working with Brits anyway. Let me say English gentleman. Somebody confronting them like that is not really the forte, right? So he was shocked as to
Hmm.
how direct the person could be and said, okay, let's discuss it. So they wrote down about 5 or 6 things. I tell you, at the end of that 3 months, first of all, this guy got confirmed. End of the year, it was exceptional. So sometimes, especially when it comes to performance, it's about determining, do I even know the expectation? Am I very clear when it comes to the expectation? And of course, it also, talks to the line manager anyway, whether you've actually defined what is the expectation that you're looking for. And the person also understands that if he gets this is what is going to happen. And you've cleared all the accountability part of it, that you deliver this, I give you this. So sometimes it is not about confrontation. Your line manager, I mean, every day I see people complaining about the line manager, and I say, have you had this conversation? This particular story that I'm telling you, I repeat it
Hmm.
probably 4 times in a month. Have
Wow.
you gone to him, push the monkey to
Hmm.
your line manager and say, okay, you're not happy, but let's put it on the table. What do you want from me? Let's redefine it so that we are very clear. It's only the line manager that is not a serious person. Because I always tell people that, have they forgotten that part of their own KPIs contributes to the line manager's
Yeah.
results?
Mm-hmm.
So the line manager is not a silly person. So if you want your subordinate, or subordinate to fail, you're actually not helping yourself. If you don't support your subordinate to do well, thinking that you'll wait till the end of the year before you deal with him or her, you're actually digging your own hole. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, hello. Hello?
I'm sorry,
Hello?
sir. My
Oh, okay.
am I you can hear me now. I'm sorry. My I
Yes.
connected to my phone. I didn't even realize that the battery was low, so the phone just went off.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I was
I
running. So
wasn't paying attention.
I have something here which I used to check my speed. So I know that I have a good speed. It's not from outside. So that was what. So I was
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that, yep. Okay,
Okay.
I don't know where you lost me.
No, just
So
it was not too long, not too long. You have to
okay,
push to your KPIs contribute to your line manager. So your line manager is not going to be setting themselves up, by not being straight about it.
exactly. Because a smart line manager wants you to succeed because it contributes to his own delivery anyway. So naturally, the person wants you to succeed.
Mm,
So the issue is that he doesn't. You think he doesn't like you, but you need to go to him professionally and talk to him and say, "Look, okay, well, what do you want me to do for me to succeed?" Now you've boxed him into a
mm,
corner because when you deliver, then it's so difficult for him to say you are not doing well. So
mm,
that's one example that I've seen that basically works, where people just take that monkey, throw it back to the line manager, and say, "Okay, well, you're not happy. I understand, but this is it." And eventually, it
mm,
works,
mm,
unless the person is just not is not self-aware enough to know the problem. Because one of the and I was talking to somebody about when you want to give feedback to people. um they always say that, okay, start with giving positive feedback before you go into the negative ones and stuff like that. But people don't realize that when you sit down with somebody and you say, "Neka, you are doing very well," and then you say, "But you've not done well in this particular area," I tell you, you've lost the person. No matter what you have said before,
mm,
in terms of you have done very well, you've lost the person. Because, in fact, it's not a cliche anyway. Because when you tell somebody and you say, "Look, you are doing very well," they are probably expecting that, okay, let me hear the bad news. What you just want to do is to do, okay, let me give you the good news, and then, but you need to separate that conversation. So people need to be able to know that, look, I need to be able to go to my line manager, sell the good story to my line manager. If he's not happy with it, I come to him and say, "Look, this is it. Tell me what you want me to do." And a good line manager should be able to give that feedback to you honestly, because it also supports his own delivery.
mm, mm. I like what you've shared, right? In terms of how we structure feedback and the role of the line manager in shaping that. The network I've gotten back on seems to still be glitching again, and we've
Okay.
had a very good conversation to this point. Um, while I do know that I have some other questions to ask, we've gone past the 1 hour mark, and it looks like I'll have to bring you back some other time. Um, I hope you.
I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. No, Neka, I'm not hearing you. Can you hear me? Uh, Hello? No, I'm not hearing you. No, I've lost your audio completely. Hello? 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 Ah, yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, so I said we've had also saying that there are questions I want to ask. We're going with the 1 hour mark, but I think I've enjoyed how the conversation has gone. Really managing your you drill down on that, and I really like the angle taking it from, and I really appreciate where you made mistakes, and opportunity elevated your career growth. And I think as you were speaking, can you still hear me? Can you still
Yes,
hear
I
me,
can hear
sir?
you. A little bit glitch, but I'm hearing you.
Yes, a bit of a glitch. Okay. As you were, end on this, just out your being HR manager. I said that's a book title. Manager for 450, something like that. That's that for me. Like just roles of greed over the years. It's worth taking on and writing something about I was chairman 21. Telling the story of the growth from there, grabbing opportunities, just distilling the essence, that brought you this far. So I think for you to write that book, and to tell us these stories, and let us are coming behind people to glean from, right? So
Okay.
I'll allow you to just
Thank you very much.
finally any final words you have to share, and then we'll call it an evening. Thank you.
Okay, I mean, look, and I think I basically probably need to, I don't want to end this one, talk about, trust, because that's always a very, hello, can you hear me? Trust.
Yes, I can hear you.
Because I use that a lot in my engagement, because I consider trust as a foundation for leadership, right? And my team members have been able to establish trust to a very high degree with them, and it's very easy for us to connect. And so they know when things are not working well, we can speak to each other. One or two of my direct reports are actually my accountability partner. Where if I'm going to do something or going wrong, they're probably asking me, "I said, baby, don't go there." You understand? Because they have that comfort that they can actually speak to me. Okay. And the trust
Mm.
is the foundation of everything when it comes to even delivering on your work. And I think people, especially line managers, needs to develop that. You need to create that psychological safety for people to be able to talk to you, share opinions with you, because it makes people to grow, and it makes you to deliver whatever you are actually working on anyway. So trust is very key when it comes to leadership. I'll just send it like that and maybe leave it for another day. Hello? Hello? Hello, Neka. Did you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah,
Your
thanks
internet is somehow lethargic.
so much for sharing. Like I think more than 2 pages.
Okay.
I think more than trust. I call this an evening. I have learned a lot.
Okay. Yep.
Really chill. We're going to call it an evening.
Yeah, I can
Thank you
hear
so
you
much,
now.
sir, for giving
Yes, I
us your
can
time.
hear
We
you
very,
now.
very much appreciate. I've learned a lot. Okay, I have learned a lot. I've taken We're grateful for this evening. Thank
Thank you very
you very, very
much.
and let's see.
Thank
Yes.
you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Stay
Yes.
blessed.
All
Good
right.
night. Yeah, bye bye.
Thank you. Good night, sir.
Yeah.